All right, and we're live. Okay, everybody, I'm happy to have everyone here. I'm joined by Zod Writer, Jeffrey Warfield, and our special guest today is Scott Fowler. We're going to be hounding him with questions. If you haven't seen him on Twitter, he's been campaigning for to be the Riddler in the DCEU. So I figured I'd ask him to join the live stream and talk about that and talk about his career and everything. So it's going to be a good time. If you guys have any questions, I know you'll leave them in the comment section, and we'll try to get to those as well. But I'm pretty sure we have a bunch of questions for Scott as well. So without further ado, let's see what I got here. The first question I have for you, Scott, is like, how did you become a WWE wrestler? Like, where did that come from? How did you train to be? Like, where did that whole thing start?
Well, when I was always a wrestling fan growing up. I was a big Hulkamaniac and everything. So I still love the Hulkster. So he's a good dude. Got to meet him a couple times, but he was mostly gone from WWE by the time I got there and did some stuff with him. So, but I still got to meet him. But anyway, that was my inspiration. And I went to a training school in late 1990s. Give away my age a little bit here. But yeah, I went to training school in Hagerstown, Maryland, and got trained and worked on the independent wrestling circuit for a while. And finally got the call from WWE Talent Relations in early 2005. And I worked for WWE pretty consistently from 2005 till about 2011. So,
wow.
Doing matches and other random things they would have me do. Like I got to play a Secret Service guy for President Obama on a pay-per-view called Capital Punishment.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you met Vince McMahon and all those guys. And
yeah, man. Yeah, I met Vince and Triple H, and Shawn Michaels was another favorite of mine. He was cool. I got getting to meet him. John Cena. Tell you that right now, a lot of the stories you hear about those guys behind the scenes aren't true. They're all pretty cool dudes. At least they were.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up during like the Attitude Era, and that's when like wrestling was just, I mean, in my house 24/7. It got to the point where we loved it. Me and my brothers loved it so much that my dad got the Brahma Bull tattoo and everything just for us.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he showed up, and I was like, "What is that?" And he's like, "I did it for you guys." And now he's like, he kind of regrets it a little bit.
I bet.
But yeah, I mean, at the time, and still is, my favorite wrestler was Jeff Hardy. You ever meet him?
Jeff Hardy, yeah, I met him a few times. Yeah. But most of the guys from the Attitude Era weren't there anymore by the time I got there. Like Stone Cold, I never got to meet him. That's one of the ones I wanted to meet.
Yeah. Did you get to meet The Rock?
I knew that was coming next. Yeah, I met him once. He was there. He was there for a surprise appearance one time. That I was there. So cool.
Did you meet the Undertaker?
Yeah, the Undertaker is he's a great dude, man. One of my favorite memories was behind the scenes with him and getting in the ring and working out with him before a show and kind of running the ropes, taking the soup bones from him and everything in the corner and taking a bear hug from him. It was pretty cool. Like nobody got to see it, but I got to experience it.
So, nice. So you did the wrestling circuit for a couple of years, and like what's that feel like to have your first match in front of all those people and the cameras and everything?
First match independently or first match in WWE?
I would say first match in WWE when it's like,
because there's like 15,000 people.
The official, like, this is craziness. Like, how's that feel? Like, what's that feel?
Right.
Like?
So that was in Baltimore in July 2005. I did a 6-man tag team match. You can find that one on YouTube.
Okay.
Somebody posted on my Twitter against the BWO, Blue World Order. It was in Baltimore, Maryland, at the First Mariner Arena, I think, near the Inner Harbor. And yeah, man, I went out there and I was kind of like numb the whole day. Really, and the best piece of advice I got was like, don't look up, don't look up in the stands. Just focus on the people in the front row, because that's kind of like what you're on the independent level. It's mostly that one level there, so you're kind of you focus on that and just pretend like those are the only people in the building.
Yeah.
It can get overwhelming, man. You look up, and then I think about the guys at WrestleMania these days. They're like in these stadiums with like 100,000 people, and they're like looking out into the sea. It's crazy.
We have a question from Xavier Rodriguez real quick. He said, did you do any acting school to become an actor, or was it because of WWE?
Yeah, I see that. No, I didn't actually. I just took the things that I learned from all the television experience that I had through WWE and I felt it was a natural transition into acting because of a lot of the things being scripted in pro wrestling. So doing promos and stuff like that. A lot of times it was a lot of winging it, but it was still, you had like a sort of a script to follow, guidelines to follow.
Yeah, and really that really does make sense because like with former WWE actors like John Cena and The Rock that first come to mind, I would imagine that they used their experience from WWE and their promo work as their like bridge to Hollywood.
Right.
So yeah, I can actually understand that.
Yeah, when you're there at WWE behind the scenes, you've got everything that you've got on a movie set or a TV set. You got your makeup people, you got your producers and stuff telling you where to go, where to stand, and all that stuff, and you get your script and what to say and stuff, and you kind of ad lib a little bit. Like, I know The Rock ad libbed a lot, but that was what he became famous for. So.
Definitely. Well, that kind of leads into my next question. Like, what made you decide you wanted to start acting? Like, where did this come from?
So I wrestled from WWE mainly from 2005 to 2011 on and off. So when I got out of that, so wrestling kind of took me. I don't know if you guys saw my Twitter. I posted a video about some of the struggles that I had. Wrestling kind of took me to a little bit of a dark place. I don't want to completely blame it on that because I think you should hold accountability for yourself. But that was kind of the thing that was the catalyst of it all, because I started partying and drinking a lot, doing all that stuff. And basically, to make a long story short, when I got out of wrestling and I got sober in 2015, I stopped drinking and everything. I still felt like there was some untapped potential left in my, and I had a lot of creativity left and stuff. And I knew I was getting to the point where I was too old. Like, I couldn't go back to WWE and be like, hey, can you book me now? I'm like 30 years old. They're looking at these 20-year-old guys, young sprouts, like jumping around.
Yeah.
But doesn't your experience count for something though? Like, if you wanted to go back, you have the experience, and you could easily be transitioned into like an angle or something, right? I mean,
it could. I still know people up there. Like, one of the guys that's on commentary now is Corey Graves up there. I wrestled him a lot on the internet. I wrestled him a lot. He's been one of my favorite matches up near Pittsburgh. But him and I, we're connected, and I try to stay in touch with a lot of the guys. And I do get quite a few offers to come in and do these little bit shot like shows and stuff to come in. Why don't you come back trying to twist my arm? And like, nah, man, I can't do that. I beat my body up enough. I'm probably going to have back surgery by the time I'm 50. So.
Damn. Okay, so you decided you wanted to start acting. So I'm guessing, was your first gig Army of the Dead? Was that your first?
No, I actually did a short film in early 2019. I got booked. It was in the DC area here.
Okay.
Okay.
It was it was a short. It was a film festival film, so it was a good experience to have. It was a good first ice breaking kind of experience. And then I did an investigation discovery show last June as a detective. That one was kind of wonky. I was just mainly it was a blur in the background and like a what do you call it, testimonial kind of situation or interrogation. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. Okay. You could tell I was there, but it was blurry. So good experience.
I'm guessing you have an agent, right?
Yeah.
So I guess then you got hooked up. Like, did you audition for the Army of the Dead, or like how did that whole thing happen?
So that one, no, I found that one on my own. It was through one of the agencies that I use, or the booking systems that I use. I got that, and I saw the call for it. So
Okay.
I submitted my stuff, and they were looking for a very specific type of zombie.
Okay.
that was gotta try to figure out the limits of what I can say here.
I was actually going to ask you. I was actually going to ask you if Zack Snyder required you to be a running zombie, but I mean that might be too much information.
Well, let's put it this way: zombies do all kinds of things.
Okay.
Oh boy.
This one was specifically for a specific scene. So,
Mm.
and I got the call a couple days later to be in Atlantic City that next day. It was like this. It was a Sunday. I remember, and I was rushing around. Like I was
awesome.
getting my hair cut and getting everything set up. But even though they were going to put all the zombie effects on me, special effects and everything too. So it was a cool experience. It's up there with anything I did with the WWE. Just like
nice.
I've of course got bucket list items that I wanted to do, and I was a big horror movie fan. You know, my big things as a kid were wrestling, horror movies, and Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yes. DC.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess you saw this question coming. Everyone really gets this question who worked with Zach. So how did it work? So how was it working with him for the first time?
I can't say enough good things, man. He's the most hands-on guy I've ever seen. Like I'll compare it to WWE. Like you never saw really Vince McMahon out like giving hands-on instruction to us or anything like that when I would go there. He was kind of in the background and telling everybody what else to do. Not that Vince McMahon's great too, don't get me wrong. About Vince, but no, Zach was like, he was diving right into everything. He had hands on. Like one of the coolest things was like he was just like showing how to do the certain thing. Again, I don't want to give away too much, but he was diving in. Like,
and that's just why we fight for Zach and the Snyder Cut and everything is because it's yes his daughter committed suicide and that was a horrific thing, and the way they kind of throw him out of the movie is just it's beyond awful. But it just goes beyond that. I mean, like Zach is such a great dude. We see that as fans. And then with you talking about how Zach was behind the scenes and filming the movie. It's like I haven't met or seen one person that said one negative thing about Zach.
That's true. That's true. It's like we've never come across anybody. It's like Zach gets a lot of negative flack, and it's all from people who don't like his movies, because anybody who's ever worked with him, anybody that's ever worked for him is always speaking his praises. It's unbelievable what a great person, overall he is. So it's not surprising to hear that come from you either. It's awesome. Yeah. It's all good stuff.
Yeah. And you just see like everything that Zach has done for the fans within this movement.
Yes.
And the the BVS watch party, the Man of Steel watch party, the interactions, so he's a great dude. But anyway, we were gonna say, Scott.
No, well, it blew me away. I mean, you guys did it, man. You got the Snyder Cut. That's all you guys, man. You did that. Everybody, you guys there, everybody in the chat here, you did that. That's freaking amazing. And the fact that I can sit here and talk to you guys, and you guys are supporting this thing that I'm trying to do here, it is incredible, and it speaks to Zach, and it does. I was there. I can't tell you this. I was there 2 days. So the first day was a hugely important scene that's going to be in the movie. The second day was the last day of filming. So I got to be there on the last day of Army of the Dead. And after it was done, Zach stood there, and every single person that was there, he shook all of our hands and like went and shook each of our hands. And said, I'll never forget. He was like, "Cheers!" Like, cheers, you dude. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so before we get off Army of the Dead, but did you meet Batista? Have you met him?
Well, I met him at WWE. I have a funny story about him too. I don't know if he remembers it or not, because it's all the way back in 2006. When I did my SmackDown match, he was there that night, and he was doing an angle for the title, and he actually asked my buddy that was there with me, Matt, to go out to a strip club after the show on SmackDown that night. So he used to go to a strip club in DC called Camelot a lot. So we were gonna go out there and it didn't end up happening, but that was cool little side story thing. But no, he wasn't there either of the days I did Army of the Dead.
Okay. What about Chris D'Elia? Did you meet him? Because I think
who was that again?
Chris D'Elia. He's a comedian. I'm pretty sure he's in the movie.
Yeah, I don't think he was.
He wasn't.
Either day. So it was both days. It was a pretty small crew.
Oh, okay.
For scenes, I don't think that were really involving the main actors.
So all your scenes were zombie centric.
Yes.
Okay.
Take notes, everybody. Take notes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
I don't know if you were going to transition to the Snyder Cut talk.
Of course
next.
I was.
So
I was getting there.
Really, this kind of goes in. So really, this question is probably going to be a invisible elephant in the room because I've been speculating this a lot. So, with you pushing for the hashtag Fowler for Riddler, my question to you is: do you have a cameo in the Snyder Cut as the Riddler?
Man, that is a big elephant in the room.
Damn, Jeff, you just went right for the heart.
I really did, didn't he? I really wish that I could sit here and say, yes, I do. Can't wait for you guys to see it. But even if I did, even if I could, I probably sign something that said I couldn't do that. So just right here, man. That's what I have to go with right now. You guys are pushing this thing more than it started off with, I think somebody on Twitter just said, hey, who would you play if you were in the DCEU? And it started with that, and then it just kept going, man.
Okay, because that was one of my questions was like, how did this whole thing get started? Was this something that someone notified you about, or like, but you just said that someone on Twitter was like, yeah, who would you play? And that's how you just went with it?
Well, I got behind you guys on the whole Snyder Cut thing because of the way I felt towards Zach from watching this movie. I love Batman versus Superman, dude. That's one of my favorite movies. Definitely.
Oh yeah.
And just him as a person, I got behind your whole thing, and then everybody saw that I was in Army of the Dead and everything, or people were seeing that through the IMDb or whatever, and questions started from that, and then it transitioned into the whole, well, if you were in the DCU, who would you be? And Riddler came up, or I think the other one was like one of the New Gods or something. Riddler stuck. So
yeah. Okay.
Sweet. Yeah, because when I first noticed it was a couple months ago, and you just came out of the woodworks and talking about like release a Snyder Cut, and I had no idea who you were. And I think you were saying like it's coming or something like that. And I clicked on your profile and I saw you had an IMDb page, and I was like, oh, he was in Army of the Dead. Like, oh shit. So this, yeah. So that was cool. But a question that I wanted to ask you is when you were on set or whatever, did Zach ever show you guys the Snyder Cut?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't. I can say specifically me. I didn't get to.
Because I know that I believe it was around November. Was it 17th when we had the Twitter day? We were just going off tweeting the hashtag left and right. I think Batista came out and said something along the lines of like, I'm not going to say that I have seen it, but something release a Snyder Cut. So I just didn't know if he, the whole crew and everyone, he was like, I'm going to show you guys the cut if you want to watch it. And I didn't know if you were a part of that. So I figured I'd ask.
So he was probably being exactly like I have to be right now. I'm not going to say no, but I can say no about that one. I have not seen it, so I'll be watching it. If I don't know if I'll get to see it, or I don't know, early, or if I'll see it at the same time as everybody else, but I'm sure it's amazing. It's gonna be like 4 hours, 5 hours. Something crazy, man.
Well, if you're cameoing as Edward Nygma, I'm sure you would probably get to see the film prior to the rest of us seeing it. But then again, you're not at liberty to discuss it. So it's kind of
yeah.
It's like that golden carrot. Everybody just wants to know.
Yeah,
inquiring minds.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be surprised if really either after this live stream or tomorrow you get a call from Zach saying, "Hey, we want you to be the Riddler for this like small scene," because we do know that he's doing additional photography for the Snyder Cut.
That's how most of the stuff like that starts. I think I'm pretty sure that's how it gets the ball rolling, at least.
So you would literally just get a call one day for like a short scene or to do something for a movie and that without out of the blue, without even being aware of it. That's really how it goes. It just happens like that.
So historically speaking, yeah.
Wow.
Like
Okay.
I said, with Army of the Dead, it was the day before. Like it was Sunday.
Wow.
I'm in Maryland, so I mean it's not too much. It's like a 4-hour drive to Atlantic City, but
yeah.
It was Sunday around noon, and I had to be there at 4:00 in the morning on Monday.
Wow.
Yeah, so to get all makeup on and everything.
So go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
So really, with you campaigning for the Riddler, my question for you is really what type of Riddler are you trying to be specifically?
That's a great question, man. I definitely, if you've probably seen in some of the couple videos that I've put out, I've kind of, little sinister, definitely sides with the little smirks and stuff like that, and kind of not altering the voice too much because my voice is kind of there as it is. So that's one of the things I've learned through acting is not to, want more of a natural voice unless you're doing a dialect specifically. But my voice kind of fits. I see the comment on here right now. Hearing your voice is a great choice. So yeah, I mean,
I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah. Oh, that's this South Cali guy. What's up, dude?
Well, he was saying he could see you playing Mr. Freeze. Any thoughts on if you would play a different villain? Any thoughts on that? If the opportunity arose. I
mean, if Zach wanted me to play, if he wanted to be played Tweedledum or Tweedledee,
you know what? You saying that is like what every actor who's ever worked with Zach that I know of has said something similar to that line where if Zach wanted me to play a tree stump, I'd play it because that's how much of a great
one, man.
of a great guy that Zach is. Like if he has a vision for it and requests you to play that role, that's awesome.
Who wouldn't trust his vision?
That's beautiful. That is great news.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I do have my eggs in one basket right now.
Pow.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I go, I go hard, strong, and just beat it into the ground. So
that's the way to do it.
Hey, I'm convinced 100% you're going to be the Riddler. That would be an awesome role to have.
Hey, all I'm saying is if I'm pretty sure there's a scene in the Snyder Cut, I believe, where Batman goes into Arkham Asylum, and if that's true, then you'd be perfect.
Who has to be there, man?
Exactly.
I do know this, that there is a scene where Deathstroke does go into Arkham Asylum, and there's like this raid, the raid hallway action scene of Deathstroke basically killing dudes to free Lex. So who knows? Maybe you might be there. Maybe you're not. Here's hoping.
Yeah. So I think Jeffrey's next question was, how was it working with Jesse Eisenberg?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Did that one go over your head a little bit?
Yeah. Where's that one at? Enlighten me here.
Jesse Eisenberg plays Lex Luthor.
Lex. Yeah. No, I didn't. working with it. Oh, you're talking. Okay,
Yeah,
so you're trying to trick me up into giving on.
Come on, man.
Oh my God! Could you imagine a scene where Lex Luthor shares a cell briefly with the Riddler? Would that not be badass?
Yeah, dude.
That would be good.
Just like one conversation for like 5 minutes, like just a 5-minute scene.
Imagine the intellect there. Right?
Yeah,
dude.
Well, I really hope that if Zach needs a Riddler, I hope he calls you, and I hope the campaign works out because we're all for it, man. And I
appreciate that, guys. Yeah, keep talking it up. I'll keep turning stuff out. I was gonna wear a Riddler shirt today, but it didn't come in yet.
Yeah,
I'll have some stuff up with that.
Well, I see you're pretty booked recently. You got a bunch of live streams coming up, so that's good.
Yeah, like you're going in with Livecast podcast. So, that's pretty
contacted
big.
Me. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of research on different stuff. Like I said on Twitter, I've been doing a lot of character study, especially on the old. For some reason, I'm drawn to the Frank Gorshin Riddler, man. Like I'm when I see it, that's what draws me.
So like a creepier, darker take on the Frank Gorshin Riddler, right. Zack Snyder style would be phenomenal. I mean,
how's that sound?
I mean, we could just. I mean, everybody here should just be giddy at the prospect of something like that. It would be incredible.
Yeah, and I see that you're also tagging Ben Affleck a lot on your Riddler post, and
Ben.
I think you really fit in on the Snyder,
especially since we know now that that there's a possibility we might be getting a Ben Affleck Batman continuation. So that in and of itself leaves the door open for hashtag Fowler for Riddler, man.
There it is.
That's what I'm talking about. And especially Arkham.
Yeah, in Arkham, dude, that would be nuts.
Yep.
Insane. But with Ben, dude, like he's a dude. He's a guy that I'd really like to meet, work with, whatever, man. You see, like I've seen he's gone through some struggles too, man. Like mine was completely alcohol. Like I drank like a fish for like 8 years. So basically, and it disrupted my entire life, put me down, rock bottom, all that happy stuff. I might post a link to that video again for anybody that wants to watch like that part. I won't go too far into that, but basically I relate to what Ben has told about himself and what he's been through with that, and the rehab done and the transformation that he's made and how he's back. I saw a picture of him the other day. He looks like $1 million, man. He looks great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like totally getting into Batman shape again. So that's that. I mean, he looks great.
Yeah, I don't think that's any coincidence.
Exactly. It's like you just when you look at stuff like that, I mean, it adds even more credence to all this stuff that we're hearing. So I mean, the possibilities are literally endless when it comes to this stuff.
Yep, especially with Henry Cavill growing in that black suit Superman beard that's in the comics that no one is talking about for some reason. And I see that he's also growing back it. And I also see him growing out his mullet a little bit.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Well, to go off that, did you guys see that in, I believe, June 12th, California is opening up for filming?
Yep.
Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I saw the article yesterday, and everyone's like freaking out because we know that as soon as Zach is allowed to film, he's going to jump right on because HBO Max is probably like, we want this thing as soon as possible. We want you to finish up the Snyder Cut as soon as possible because we want to, get this thing rolling. So I bet Zach is just like, he's ready. He's ready to go.
Ready to rock it. I'm seeing some of these questions here. There's one about, would you remove your mustache with CGI? and Riddler with a mustache. I mean, I got a full beard here. I why not, man? I mean, it's throw a twist in there. I don't know. I'll probably for one of these things I'll shave it off so you can see it that way too. So,
Zach would probably leave you with a full mustache and beard as Enigma just to add a level of uniqueness to the character. Plus, if you're disheveled and if you're disheveled and you're in Arkham Asylum anyway, it would kind of make sense.
Yep, and also it would also add a little bit of uniqueness and really kind of like a little bit of world building to the Batman Snyderverse of sorts, where it would be like where not only Batman has been through stuff, but also it would also be like a little bit of world building to see like some of the villains have been through some stuff with the Batman and really how they were affected through the 20-year crusade.
Yeah.
So really, I think that would be like a pretty cool world building aspect.
All right, we got some more peeps showed up. We got Julian.
Oh, hey.
How's it going?
It's cool to finally speak to you, Tyler. You know, I'm a big fan of your show. You should get more subscribers, honestly.
I appreciate that. And then we got South Cali guys. So we got a full staff.
Wow.
Hey, what's up, Julian? Yeah.
What's going on, gentlemen? Morning.
Just talking about wrestling, Snyder Cut, DCEU, Riddler, all that great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's something. First of all, thank you for being on, Fowler. It's amazing to get to talk to you. I know we talked like every once in a while through Twitter and stuff like that, but it's more like, high and by conversation. But it's great to meet you, man. Pleasure.
Same to meet all you guys. You guys are a great positive force in this whole thing, man. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, when I started this whole YouTube about a year ago, this whole YouTube thing, I didn't expect for me to fall into this movement like this, and it's been great. I mean, I consider all you guys friends now, and I would love to like meet all you and have like a SnyderCon 2 or something and watch the Snyder Cut together. That'd be sick.
Why not?
We're gonna be able to do that. We'll be able to have watch parties and everything once it comes out for real.
Yeah. You know what I'm afraid of is I was thinking about getting like a really nice setup in my basement for like if they're gonna do chapters, the first chapter, and have a bunch of my friends over. And then I sat there and I said, what's gonna happen? Because we all know that HBO Max it's gonna mess up. We all know that it's that day one when the Snyder Cut gets released, it's gonna crash. It's gonna crash hard. So if I have all my friends over and it crashes, what are we gonna do?
I don't know, man. I don't know. You gotta have faith, man. You gotta have faith in the idea that it'll be okay. Because I mean, at least at launch for HBO Max has been okay. So I'm sure by then they'll have fortified their servers to the point where they'll be ready for it. They know what's coming, so they're not crazy.
and I think HBO Max. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Really, how I see it, I think if it does crash, it's gonna be a win, especially with this whole streaming wars thing. Because really think about it like this, like as of right now, the most recorded subscribers for HBO Max is I think over a million. So imagine, really when the Snyder Cut when Zack Snyder's Justice League comes out, which I know is canon already because for Justice League, for a short little thing, and for Justice League, it's in for the HBO Max DCEU category for quote a limited time, meaning that the Zack Snyder's Justice League is canon and the studio version is no longer canon. So going back to the topic at hand, if you think about the marketing, if you think about the service crashing, just like Vero did for a little bit in the BVS live stream, that will not even HBO Max can contain the Snyder fans. And it really, that's really like, again, which is why I really suggested for it to be in theaters, because I know that the servers won't be able to handle it.
Well, according to Lightcast and a bunch of other people, they seem to think that they're probably going to have a screening before probably the first couple episodes, if that's how they're going to do it. And they're probably going to have a Fathom Events screening and stuff like that. And I hope they really do.
I don't agree with that. I don't think that will happen, just simply because we're at a point where movie theaters are not exactly, thriving. Maybe by then they'll have peaked up a little bit, but I think the idea is to maximize the streaming platform. So I highly doubt that they're going to do any kind of theatrical presentation for anything Snyder Cut related, because they're going to want this content to totally hit hard and have everybody glued to HBO Max. I think if we get a Fathom event of any kind, it'll be after the Snyder Cut is already aired on HBO Max and they've had a chance to maximize the potential streaming wise.
That makes sense.
Because like really when it comes to the Snyder Cut, like there are really a bunch of people who are saying like, hey, who's gonna with the theaters dying, people are actually bringing up the question of what's going to save theaters. Like, really, I don't think Tenet is going to, or Tenet, I forgot how to say it, but I don't think that movie is going to save it. Like, it's probably not going to make that much money. But really, I think if the Snyder Cut does come out, like really, if you just look at the Snyder fans alone, and then really with the people who watched it in chapters in HBO Max, where really then after that, if you combine those two possibilities, like really, I think that can save theaters. And really, for going on to really what Zod said, like, yeah, they can do it like the Irishman way, where they showed the Irishman in theaters for a limited time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Jeff, but like Zod was saying, I think that HBO just wants it. They don't want any like theater run at all before, maybe after. But HBO Max just wants it like all for them, like day one. Like they don't want anyone to get a preview of it beforehand.
I got just a little 2 cents. As far as like the watch party goes, it was reported whether this will happen or not. I don't know. But if you guys remember an article, I don't remember who posted it. It was like a tech article. It was in regards to HBO Max. Supposedly at one point or at some point, they would be having like watch parties, like actual watch parties where there was an app that will be attached, like you could download it and then it will sync with your HBO Max account. Yeah. And you could actually have your own watch party and everyone can watch the exact same thing at the same time. So like it would be like this huge watch party. I can imagine that being the case for when the Snyder Cut, comes out, and then just imagine both apps crashing at the same time. It's going to be ridiculous.
Oh, Jesus.
Just so you know, I don't trust reporters at all. I've said this on Twitter.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
That's really like my number one rules. And really I really don't even trust Grace Randolph or even Sean O'Connell, which in terms of you watching this, Sean, it's no offense. It's just like I just like to go at things. I just like to go on and search things on my own. It's really just a more thrill of the hunt sort of thing for me.
Jeffrey's the real Batman. He's the real true detective. The real watchtower. So, Julian, or South Cali guy, you guys got any questions for Scott over here?
Well, I would, but it's... Oh.
Good. Go ahead. You're good. Go ahead.
Oh God, because for a while I was experiencing major echo, and I realized now I still am because.
Do you have it playing on like another device?
I just have my computer, so like I'm hearing everything and then hearing it again 30 seconds later. I might have to drop out of the chat.
Okay.
Oh.
That's fine. If you drop out and come back, that's cool. I'll put you back in.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I necessarily have a question, just more like sharing an experience. Because like Fowler, I was an extra for BVS. It's like one of the many, many, many extras that were there for BVS, and just to be there, seeing all the fans like being in there, you know, just how excited you can be in the moment, and just realizing and hoping in that time how it just like like this is happening. This is amazing. Like our DCU, I mean, back then with BBS, but like this is DCU. It's happening. Like this is the start of it, and it's the excitement is just there. And then now with the Snyder Cut coming out eventually, it's just how are you not supposed to be excited? I'm assuming. I mean, I can assume your excitement, Scott, if this really does happen. I mean, I was excited just for BVS, and again, I was just an extra for a small little role. I mean, this is just awesome, man. I mean, I'm hoping you get it. That would be awesome to see you as a Riddler. So that's just awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited, man. Like, I want to see. I'm not sure the timeline either with Army of the Dead, but I can't wait to see the finished product of that.
Right.
One of the things.
I can't wait to see the first trailer for that, man.
Yeah, when's the trailer dropping, Scott?
For that too, man. Get me the trailer. Give me the trailer front and center here. No, but even with that, like with Army of the Dead, I want to see that, see how everything turns. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. One of the things that was said around set, and I won't say who said it or how it came about, was it's going to be like you guys curse on the show?
You can.
Yeah.
He said it's going to be like an effed up Lion King.
Oh wow!
God damn it! I can't hear what's going on.
Oh man, Julian, where are you?
I'm in Canada. Is that perhaps it? Is that why everything else?
I have no idea. But
is it possible that you have YouTube on in the background and you just forgot that it's playing?
I thought that was it. Oh wait, hang on.
I can hear you just fine, brother.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Holy crap! I thought I deleted it. Then I realized I had it playing on the live video.
There you go. It happened.
Hey, wait, Scott, were you the one who figured that out?
What's that?
That was
never
me.
mind. Okay, I take it.
Yeah, question now for South Cali guy. Wait, you mentioned that you were an extra for BVS.
Yep.
So, question for you, because I'm pretty sure I know what scene it is that you were an extra on. Was it the Washington scene where Superman flies down and there are like protesters and followers of Superman?
No. I've actually posted online what scene I was actually in. That's why this is kind of one of those things for me with the whole release of Snyder Cut, and not necessarily why I was a part of the movement, but just I could feel for the others that were involved in Justice League. In the theatrical cut of BVS and even in the extended edition, the scene that I was involved with was the Gotham City versus Metropolis, the football scene. Where they're playing football. That's the scene that I was involved in. But when you watch the theatrical cut, you don't even see the actual football game. Not that you do. Yeah. Not that you really see it.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. That's what I was there for. I was there that day, so it was fun to be there and a part of it. But it was just, again, the atmosphere. It was just, it's excitement because you don't know what's going to happen next. All we know is we're there for a football scene, but this football scene, we have no idea, what is it going to be a part of? Is it going to be bigger than what it is? Again, it wasn't, but, it's all part of the speculation,
It sort of is. It's the reason why Metropolis is kicking Gotham's ass is because they lost their star player, Victor.
Yeah.
And really, that's that's another cool detail in, and you guessed it, BBS. Like another reason why we say that there's so many details that you can go back to for watching this movie and see, like, oh, so that's why Cyborg wasn't mentioned in that football scene. like you would expect Cyborg to be mentioned in that scene because he's in one of the players. But with him not being in there or even mentioned, that really did hint at him already having the accident, which is another cool detail and another reason why I love Zack Snyder's movies, because there's just so much rewatchability in these movies.
Yep. So, so Scott, who's your favorite Batman?
Hang on a second.
Okay. Scott, who's your favorite Batman?
Man, up until
parents just leaving for the airport, promised I'd say goodbye, so I'll be right back. Yeah.
Okay.
Up until BVS, it was Bale, man, but now it's Affleck.
I was the same way, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely the same way. Definitely the same way.
Truthfully, my favorite movie is Dark Knight. So
that's mine too.
But BVS is top 5 easily. So
really my favorite Batman movie and Batman iteration at the time before BVS was Michael Keaton. Yeah, like really people like to me personally, I get why people do like him, did like Christian Bale, but to me it was just like with people like stand for Bale. Like to me, he was a great Bruce Wayne. But as the Batman, I just really couldn't see him as Batman.
So Zod, who's your favorite Batman?
Ben Affleck, 100%. My favorite prior to Ben Affleck was Michael Keaton, but I never could get behind Christian Bale as Batman because he never felt like Batman to me. His growling was kind of took me out of the scene.
I love that.
I was sort of
that's a love or hate thing, isn't it?
It kind of is, but it's like it's been. And the funny thing for me with Christian Bale is that he always his Batman growling voice has been like parodied so much, and it's been parodied so perfectly. To me, that kind of ruins his rendition of Batman. But I always thought he was a good. I agree with Jeffrey. I think he was a good Bruce Wayne, but to me, his Batman was sort of lacking and was just kind of there, and it was hard for me to get into the character. But for me, Ben Affleck takes it 100% as the most comic book accurate and most cinematic Batman that we've ever had on screen. Thanks to Ben Affleck's brilliant portrayal and Zack Snyder's amazing direction. I mean, we got the perfect Batman, like the crown jewel. I just can't see anybody else taking on that role so soon, which is one of the reasons why I struggle with the idea of another Batman movie coming out so soon in the future when we're in the midst of all this great Snyderverse stuff. I think Ben Affleck has a lot of unfinished business, and with #Fowler for Riddler, we've got another dynamic there of something that we need to see, something that has to happen. I mean, Riddler versus Batman mixed in an Arkham Asylum kind of setting. I mean, it's a match made in heaven. It's something we all need, and I think the Snyderverse is going to blow everybody away. And I kind of feel a little bad for where they're, what they're trying to do on the theatrical front with that other Batman movie. I really do. I think that other Batman movie is kind of going to be like background noise at this point, but that's just my opinion. I don't know.
Well, see, I took like when the whole Robert Pattinson thing happened, where they said he was the new Batman. I know a bunch of people were freaking out because Ben is he's still my favorite Batman, and people were like, oh, they thought Ben's reign as Batman was done. But I was always under the impression that I thought that Ben could still be like Zack Snyder's Batman, and then you could have this Robert Pattinson Batman over here. And now it looks like that's what they're gonna do. if you've been paying attention. And the way I look at it is I look at it as a positive, because Batman's my favorite DC character. So the way I look at it is like, okay, now we're going to get more of Ben Affleck, more of my favorite Batman. Oh, but now we're going to get this other Batman too that could be really good as well. We just don't know yet. So,
well, is it just me, or does and I don't know if it's my bias or what, but to me, all the stuff that I've seen of Robert Pattinson as Batman doesn't convince me that he's that he's Batman. When I see him, I don't see Batman, and I think that's my biggest problem. Yeah. If I was convinced when I looked at him that he was Batman, it's like Ben Affleck raised the bar so high that anybody who takes on that role after him has a tough road ahead of him. And to be honest with you, it's like, I think that's the biggest problem with Pattinson. He just doesn't embody the character at all. And I haven't been impressed with anything that I've seen so far. And that's one of the reasons why I think I'm having such a hard time even acknowledging the movie from a Batman fan perspective.
Yeah, because really, like, for me, when everyone was freaking out, I was like, it really, for me personally, I was like, okay, that's an interesting choice. The person, like, for me, I haven't followed Robert Pattinson post Twilight, so to me, and really, like, my number one rule is really for people who are going to go on for a big screen, like for a big screen role. I really don't pay attention to their small role work. I only do it on their big screen stuff. And really, for me, like, I'm going at this I'm looking at this like as a clean slate, because I was like, he was okay in the Twilight trilogy or the Twilight saga. But for me, it's like with everyone, with the news coming out saying that he's not working out, he's being kind of like very relaxed about it. To me, it's kind of like with Henry Cavill as Superman, or really as Henry Cavill as Superman, where he worked hard at the role at not just really a physical physique standpoint, but he also worked hard in getting the knowledge of Superman, getting to know the character, and you can tell that even through his Instagram post that he is a Superman fan, and that he likes the Superman character. So really, like, where I stand with Robert Pattinson, and this is a question directly towards him, is really like, what is your passion? If you're not working out and you're being very relaxed about this huge DC role, why are you? Do you think you're like do you think you're like privileged for the Batman role? Because really, like, for me, like, I do know that people go into the Lighthouse and to say that he's changed. I haven't seen Lighthouse. Like I said, I want to do things at a clean slate. But with all of this backstage stuff, it's really like questioning me on, like, really, should he even be the Batman?
Well, it's probably not that big a deal. I'm sure he's gonna give it his best when the time finally comes. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am Batfleck forever, so So, but you know what? I have to admit I've been unfair to Robert. I haven't said anything, but I am not gonna have any faith until I actually see it.
Yeah, and I think that's the best thing we can do is just wait for a trailer to come out. And I base a lot off a trailer, and then I can go, okay, that's kind of that's where he's taking this character, and then I can go, do I like it? Do I not? But yeah, I wait for a trailer to drop.
So really, I have a question for all of you guys. Ties can count. So what do you think was the best comic accurate Joker? Like I said, ties can count.
Ties?
I don't even know if that's possible to say what is the most comic book accurate. There's like technically 3 Jokers in the comic universe, so which one would you be talking about, right?
You know, I'm gonna say Jared Leto.
Okay. Okay, but why? I'm interested to know what is it about him that makes him the most comic accurate.
I would just say really like a connection between a mix of the Golden Age and the Bronze Age.
Okay.
He is the only one to be thrown into a vat of acid, so there's that.
The thing that I love about Jared's take on the Joker is just how crazy he really is, how psychotic he really is. And I know that we only got to see him for like 5 minutes in the Suicide Squad. And, you know, I know one day we'll get to see the Ayer cut and get to see more of that. But just like how he was just kind of all over the place and the way he talked and his mannerisms, everything was just kind of just, you know, craziness all over the place. And I think, to me, that's like a comic book accurate Joker. It's just a Joker that's just unhinged. You don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And his mind's all over the place. That's how I feel like it. That's what I feel like is more comic book accurate, if you will, for a Joker character.
Yeah, especially Endgame.
Yeah. That's true. All right, well, we're coming up on the hour mark here. Anybody got any more questions or want to talk about anything else? There's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, so really, I would say really this isn't really a question, but really for a topic that I wanted us to think about. So like you said, we're going to get 2 Batman movies. So really, my thing is really, what is really? Do you think that do you think for Justice League 3? Because I do know that we're going to get a trilogy. That we're going to get Snyder's trilogy of DC movies.
Justice League 3.
So yeah, because it was originally supposed, because Kevin Smith came in and it said that the original plan was a trilogy of Justice League movies headed by Zack, and before the studio came in and messed up everything. But yeah, so really for me, with the whole Flash meets Flash moment, do you think, I personally think and believe still to this day that for Justice League 3 that we'll get a multiverse, we'll get at the end of this, we'll get the entire multiverse versus the forces of Apocalypse, because in the comics we do know that Darkseid does travel through multiverses with those boom tubes, and it's not just places and not just planets. It's like he can travel through the entire multiverse. So with the idea and the concept of, and we do know that back in BBS that the reason Zack wanted to do the DCEU was because okay. So
Wait, is there a
as I
question?
was
Sorry,
saying,
I'm not sure what you're asking.
yeah. So really, like, do you think? So do you guys think that we're going to get the entire multiverse versus the forces of apocalypse come Justice League 3?
I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say no. Like, if you mean the TV, like Grant Gustin, I don't ever think we're gonna see that happen again. If there's one thing I've noticed,
for those of you who don't know, actually, the backstage
the Crisis on Infinite Earth, I know. That's it, right?
But here's the thing: the WB execs told the CW head, "Hey, we want you to do this," and so really, Ezra Miller at the start of it wasn't supposed to be in there. And so then we also go into a bureau post with Zach, or not really Zach, but a question that someone asked Zach on, and it was like basically like, and the question is basically, does Ezra Miller travel through the is Ezra Miller at the time of the Snyder Cut able to travel through dimensions and including the afterlife, which the question was mainly about? Like, who can't, like, is he the one that does bring Superman back to life and not the mother bots? And Zach did like that post. Now, and really the question is about the additional photography. And this is really like a big if, but then again, in the world of the hashtag release the Snyder Cut movement, all ifs have been reality at this point. So it's really not that far fetched. So really go down the rabbit hole with me.
Yeah,
what if
sure.
One of those additional photography scenes is really going to be the connection between Ezra Miller's Flash accidentally dimensional traveling to the Arrowverse for that little scene?
I don't know. I mean,
and really, like
I was gonna say, Jeffrey. Sorry, as much as that would be cool, I've noticed that TV shows will acknowledge movies, but it's never the other way around. Like, you saw what happened, like, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They acknowledged a lot of events, but there hasn't been a single movie that's acknowledged them. And I just don't think the universes would mesh well together. At best, we might get an Easter egg in the Flash movie. That could definitely happen. But I don't think Zack Snyder has any plans for that.
Going down the rabbit hole, man.
The one thing that I'll include is that Zach kind of laid, like a couple of years ago, Zach kind of laid out his whole plan for his 3 movies. So in a sense, it kind of spoiled everything. So now, we know what's going to happen. So I think now that Zach has that chance to continue with doing a JL2 and a JL3, I think he might want to change things up. And I kind of agree with Jeffrey to a point where the multiverse is like the reason that the Flash showed up, or Ezra Miller's Flash showed up in the CW. There was a reason for that. It's to show the multiverse. They really want to take advantage of that. So I'm kind of leaning more. I'm leaning towards the finale of Zach's, I guess, Justice League 3, if you will. Could kind of be like the Apocalypse War, the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, because J.J. Abrams is doing a Justice League Dark show, and J.J. Abrams and Zach are buddies, and Zach can kind of continue with his Justice League, and then they kind of mesh in the finale and kind of have like that Justice League Apocalypse War finale like they had with the animated movie, and I think that'd be awesome because I think Zach wants to change it up now because he kind of showed his plans off too early.
Yep, and really, Jay Oliva actually said the reason why it's going to be $30 million is because HBO and I quote, like someone actually was basically talking trash and saying, "See, it's not complete. And he said, "No, the original principal photography is done. The reason why it's going to be an extra 30 million is because HBO Max wants to add more stuff to Zack Snyder's Justice League." So really, like with that being with what Jay Oliva said, that really does open the opportunity of like what is that more stuff that he's talking about, and talking about JJ's Justice League Dark, really, like not a lot of people are noticing this, but I'm actually the only person who pointed this out. But for JJ's Justice League Dark, one of the producers is actually Deborah.
Yeah,
what, really?
That's
I did not know that.
about.
Yeah, I mean, Zach's in complete control now of the DCEU. Zach's original slate and everything. I think it's all back. I think Zach's he's like the Kevin Feige of DC now, if you will.
I know he's the Zack Snyder.
He's the Zack.
I really don't like.
He's the Zack Snyder. He's the Zack Snyder of the Snyderverse. But him being in control is how it absolutely should be. 100%.
And it's just a beautiful
movies. I'm sure he doesn't want to take complete control because, like he said, he wants James Wan to do what he does with Aquaman and James Gunn to do what he does with Suicide Squad, and more power to them, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Zach is like, I think, I just think Zach wants to finish what he started, and then I can see him kind of being like a showrunner, if you will, and kind of just.
I know he wants to finish what he started, but will he? That's the big question.
You know what? I think he will, as long as we show up for the Snyder Cut.
Yep,
that's it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So I do have a question. I mean, this is now going a bit off base, but if we're going to go down the rabbit hole, so Jeffrey, you spoke about Dark, and that got me thinking about this other dark mirror universe, called Brightburn. And I was thinking, since James Gunn has a hand in that, if somewhere down the line we're going to have like an evil crossover where like
I hope
the
so.
Injustice League faces off against the Justice League.
Yes, that would be epic. and really,
the only problem with that is that it's a Sony. That's a Sony.
I know, but
product.
Sony and Disney managed to have an agreement, so who knows, right? Yeah.
Really,
big one.
But yeah, so Scott, you've been quiet for a while. What do you think about that?
The Watchtower was talking.
No.
The Black Zero was sort of like a Watchtower, but for the bad guys.
Hey, I want to hear what you guys had to say too, man. I'm big on all this insight that you guys have on this stuff that I might not have. But Brightburn, dude, I'm glad you brought that up. I saw that for the first time a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was fantastic. Like, I loved it. The reviews I was hearing about it before I saw it weren't the greatest, but I'm always I got to see it for myself kind of person.
It was the same with Man of Steel. You can't really let the reviews decide. And in fact, Brightburn vindicates Man of Steel. What if he was actually dark?
Yeah,
and I think that's the beautiful thing about this movement. And again, I get so much information from Lightcast now, but they were talking about how now the tides have changed, and now WB or AT&T, if you will, and all that, they're not listening to the critics anymore because that's not how they get their money. They get their money from the fans. So they were trying to appease the critics for a little bit, and where did that get them? That got them into a huge mess.
Smartened up.
Yeah, exactly. Because the critics, they don't pay for these movies. The fans do. Right. They pay for the content. So now they're all on board with giving the fans what they wanted, and that's why I said that if you want Justice League 2 and 3, you have to show up.
Oh yeah.
You have to show up for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
That's why professional wrestling has been as successful as it has been for as long as it has been. They listen to the fans, man. It's mostly controlled by the fans, and who's buying the merchandise and who's
exactly
based off that.
And really, like, just one more thing. like it was I was talking about like the Brightburn universe versus the Snyder universe. Like really, there was something cool that JJ said in a Q&A of Brightburn, where or really like a comment where someone commented, like he was like reading comments on Brightburn, and one thing came up, and it said, and the person said, and it basically said, Zach, my Superman is, and it basically said, Man of Steel is wow, Superman, Zack Snyder's Superman is dark. And then it said J.J. Abrams, hold my beer. and really J.J. replied saying, no, like I wouldn't tell him to hold my beer. I would actually tell him to really share my beer, and he gave this like real smug look and at the camera. And you can find it on YouTube. It's on IGN's YouTube channel, but really that might actually open up the possibility of a JJ versus Snyderverse.
That's what I'm talking about.
Which I can say I'm down for. Evil Justice League versus Snyder's Justice League. And we do know that it is in the comic, somewhere. So why not?
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Well, we're just over an hour now, and I like to keep these live streams to around an hour.
All right.
I want to thank Zod for coming out, Jeffrey, Julian, South Cali guy, and especially Scott Fowler for coming on and having us question you for a good 30 minutes.
That's the future Riddler right there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Talking about. Hey, and let's close it out with a riddle, man.
Okay.
Close it out with a riddle.
Perfect.
Okay, close it out with the riddle. Okay.
This is one of my favorites. Riddle me this. No man has seen me. I never was, but I will always be.
Oh.
And that's the show.
Time.